Hello, you guys, and welcome back, and happy Saturday. It's a beautiful day here in New York. I think it's supposed to get up into the 70s. It's kind of warm. And I was out running errands earlier. I got out early this morning, out and about in Midtown Manhattan running errands. I have some boxes I'm going to be unboxing here. Meanwhile, I am going to do a review on this new movie called Woman in the Yard. Woman in the Yard. And I'm still trying to get my voice back. But I saw this movie a couple of days ago at the AMC Theater in the Village. And when I saw the trailer before purchasing my tickets, I figured this would be my kind of movie. I figured it would be. So, and by the way, this is going to be a spoiler alert, but I'm sitting in the theater and I'm happy that I have the entire row to myself, right? Because not that many people went to go see this movie for some reason. Because most people, ever since COVID happened, most people choose to watch movies streaming. To each his own, that's their choice. But for me, I prefer the old traditional, good old fashioned theatrical experience. That's just me. But yeah, I knew it was my kind of movie, and so I'm sitting in the movie theater and watching this movie, and I'm immediately drawn in, right? It immediately gives like this paranormal, mysterious type of movie, right? From the jump. So I'm immediately drawn in, and basically, the movie takes place, funny enough, it only has like one location, which is at a house. And the house seems to be like out in the middle of nowhere. And there's this family that survived a car crash. I don't think the children were in the car crash, though. I think it was just the wife, right? The widow. And her husband died, right? Their father died, so she has two children, a son and a daughter. And of course, after the car accident, their lives would never be the same. And so this family is sitting, I think, at the kitchen table, and they're eating. And then she looked outside and she noticed there's this woman outside in the yard. And the woman is dressed in all black. So right there, it's some psycho-spiritual shit going on, right? She's dressed in all black. She has this sheer veil covering her face, so you can't really see her facial features, right? But that right there, like seeing her looking out, looking at this woman and trying to figure out who is this person. Excuse me. So that basically became like the goal of the entire film, to see who is this woman, this mysterious woman just sitting out in the yard. And she was bold enough to go out and, talk to the lady, have interaction with the lady, trying to tell the lady to leave. You're not welcome here, you can't be here. Of course she's not going to leave, because that's not how spirits work. And I knew, like from the jump, I knew, like I said, it was some psycho-spiritual shit. Like it was a spirit. And it was sitting there on purpose. Like it was there on purpose. Not that it was sitting there, but it was there on purpose. It had a mission to fulfill. And so she didn't leave. And then the son, he's like a teenager, a preteen. He goes, he's like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get rid of her, right? And everybody's like trying to figure out like who is this lady. And I thought it was interesting that when the sun went out, the lady was like, your mother didn't tell you the truth. So this was another catalyst in the film where from that point they were on a search for the real truth, like what really happened. And she was like, yeah, she didn't tell you the truth about the car accident and what really happened. And then from there, the mother was forced. I did say I was going to multitask, right? But from there, it's like the mother was forced to tell the truth, which is almost like she was hiding something from the children about the accident. Come to find out, and the funny thing about like these paranormal, like kind of mystery-based films and stories, I feel like is like a lot is left up for speculation, interpretation, right? Subjective interpretation. So how I interpret the film may be different from how someone else may interpret the film. It's just like that movie Us. And I think I did a review on that movie Us, which I did not like the movie Us. I hated that shit because it was like, I'm confused as hell. But, okay, we're gonna do this later. I gotta focus. But it was like, it leaves so much room for your own interpretation and projective understanding of what's happening in the film. But this is how I interpret it. So, why would the mother lie about who was driving? She told her children that the father was driving, right? But if I'm thinking like to myself, like an accident is an accident. It's a car accident. Doesn't matter who's driving, right? If it's an accident, it's an accident. But apparently the truth came out where the mother was the one who was driving. And of course the father died. And throughout the film, they did like these, like going back in time, right, to show what happened, what led up to that point. And so it showed basically the car accident and moments before the car accident, kind of what caused it, where she was seeing the same woman. I'm like, interesting. So the woman was there before the accident, apparently, not after. Because leading up until that point, before they let us know, okay, this is how the accident happened, one may assume like she didn't start having these mystical experiences until after the accident. But no, she saw the woman, and the woman is kind of what led her to get distracted. She swerved and she got into the accident, car accident. So I'm like, interesting. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but towards the end, because everything kind of got ramped up, like, you know, the suspense was building, you know, we're pulled in trying to figure out, okay, who is this woman? What is her purpose? And we later find out, which it made sense to me kind of early on, because even when she was speaking to the woman, they sounded similar. Like the voices sounded similar. So I'm like, is this like a split ego, right? Is this like, or a split personality? Is this another aspect of this woman's psyche that is communicating to her? But it became very clear towards the end that it was her, in the spirit, the woman in the yard who the whole time was like sitting in a chair, right? And a lot of different things, like paranormal kind of things, happen where she thought the woman had killed the dog and all these things. And turned out the woman, she said to her, she was like, I am the darkest part of your your psyche. And the woman, it's like she couldn't refute it, right? You know, the mother, she's just like sitting there like, because they were in a room and they were face to face. And she's like, yeah, I am the darkest, side of you. And I guess from my understanding, it was a part of herself that she didn't want to deal with. It almost make you feel like there should be another part of the story that we need to see before this part of the story, right? Like this film. Not like a part two, but like a preliminary movie that we need to see, before this actual film, because it's just like, okay, well, who is this woman? Who is she? And I think that's what the writer intended. Because first the focus was on the woman in the yard, like who is this woman in the yard? Right? But then as the story unfolds, it's like, who is the mother? Who is she? Because what type of person, what makes you wonder, like, what kind of life she lived, what kind of person she actually is, that she has this very deep, this deep, dark side of herself that is a part of who she is. But she hasn't really come to terms with it. And when she revealed the woman in the yard, which is pretty much her split ego, revealed like, I'm your darkest self, right? Or your lower self. To her, they were face to face inside the bedroom. She was like, wow. And she told her, she was like, kill yourself, in a sense, right? But really kill this aspect of yourself. So she didn't kill herself. Like, we were kind of held at the edge of our seats, like, is she going to kill herself? Is she going to kill her? But she didn't kill herself, but she killed that aspect of herself. And then from there, well, she actually had a gun. And that scene was like, oh my gosh. Excuse me. That scene was so powerful because just the way it was written, and it felt so real. Like it really felt like I was there with the woman, almost like, we were part of the woman having to make this decision, like, should I kill myself? Should I not kill myself? And she had the gun. It was like a shotgun, long ass gun laying across her lap. And she was, deliberating, like, what should she do? And then the darker part of herself, the woman who had been in the yard the entire time, she stood the gun up, right? With the barrel facing her chin, her face. And she helped her pull the trigger. And then after that, it was symbolic. That's what was so powerful, because it was symbolic representation of her killing that aspect of herself, that deep, dark, hidden aspect that even she didn't know really was there, or even I guess she hadn't really come to a resolve with, right? So it just left, I think, a lot of room for reflection, interpretation. It made me think about many different things. One, it made me think about my work when I was working at the hospital, psychiatric hospital. I had a client, a patient, who had DID, dissociative identity disorder. She had multiple personalities and she had split ego, but it was really like these characters that she actually had named live within her. And they were real people. And she would not let them go, and they had lived with her ever since she was a little girl, where her trauma had began, right, where her trauma was rooted. I got to know her very well because I would work with her twice a week, right? We met twice a week. Each session, it would be like 1 hour. Sometimes it would go 2 hours. But I really got to know her inside and out, for the time I worked with her, and it's interesting to see how even though she knew these other two characters, which she had given names, she had given them names, right? They were male characters. Even though she knew that these personalities were diabolical, like they caused her harm, they caused other people harm, she did not want to let them go. She felt empowered by those people. And it just made me think of her, right? Like, at what point is she going to kill that aspect of herself, right? Which is linked to her trauma. Trauma is it's a fascinating thing because most of us have it. When we think about it, especially living through fucking COVID, the pandemic, and all the things that we've experienced, even just as members of society, not to even go into, the complex trauma of racial trauma and, childhood trauma. Some people have, or abuse, like physical and sexual trauma and psychological trauma and generational trauma, so many different types of trauma. And oftentimes, with trauma, we develop identities, or these identities emerge by proxy of the trauma. And we have become so attached to these identities. Like, they have become an integral part of who we are, even to our own detriment, that we don't want to let those aspects of ourselves go, right? So that's what the movie made me think about, that particular person. And then it made me think about, like, in terms of just trauma itself, because, I conceptualize, what was happening has to be trauma, right? Like I said, I initially felt like, okay, this woman in the yard, this aspect of her identity emerged after the car accident. The car accident obviously is a type of trauma, right? But then we see, like I said, we see in the movie where it was this figure she saw moments before the accident happened. So it's just like, it was something that was, she was dealing with prior, but it made me think deeply about trauma. And not only, trauma in working with the patient I just described, but also racial trauma in terms of the collective consciousness of Black people, and how oftentimes we cling to that aspect of our identity that's linked to racism, racial oppression, slavery. It's difficult for us to let it go. Tashana. Oh, I just saw your comment. Hi, Tashana. How are you? If you guys have seen this film, feel free to drop your commentary below. Let me know what you thought about it, or if you plan to go see it. But there's many different ways we can look at it, and it, Facebook show you your memories, right? So I'm looking through my memories. I think it was yesterday, and I saw where I had made a post. I went to the Smithsonian National African American Museum in DC several years ago, and I had made a video I made many videos, but one of the videos I made, I was talking about how the cafe didn't serve white meat, and how I felt that was very insidious and kind of ignorant for them not to serve white meat. Because I asked her, I said, well, why don't y'all serve white meat? And she says, this is an African American museum. We don't serve white meat. And I'm just like, in the comments of the video, this guy, of course, he had to challenge my thought process, and me and him went back and forth. But it just made me, think. Right? It made me come to this intersection of how Black Americans, yes, it is true. These events happen to us. It's not to undermine the gravity of what happened to us and what's still happening to us, right? But oftentimes there's this, I feel like we obviously play a role. And for me, the kind of psychologist I am, I like to look at the individual, right? And I come from a more strengths-based approach where to empower individuals to see, okay, what role do you play? What role do you play in your own trauma? How do your own perceptions of what happened and how do you continue to interpret what happened? How does that feed? How does that feed into the trauma? How does that keep one paralyzed? And like I said, we hold on to these identities. So I thought that film was a very good example to show how a lot of times that trauma can keep, like the impact trauma can have on a person can keep you freaking paralyzed. So to the point where as a woman, his mother with 2 kids had, after the car accident, she would not leave the house. And she didn't want her children to leave. She hadn't gone to work. The lights got turned off. Like, it got to a point where it was self-sabotaging. It was harmful. And she didn't even realize it. That's the thing. It took this deep, dark aspect of herself to kind of be projected out to communicate with her. What are you doing? At first, she was like, who are you? She was afraid. She was trying to, kill the woman and just going back and forth with the woman. And then she realized, like, oh, okay, this actually woman was sent to help me. And the woman has, said to her, like, this aspect of you has to die in a good way. And it's like after she killed her, the representation of, what this woman meant in her life, she could leave the house. She can go out and get back to living. This shit is powerful, man. It's so powerful. Because I see that, I feel like that example, what we see in this film, is present in so many people's lives. Like I said, especially in Black Americans who live with racial trauma. And trauma doesn't just impact you on a psychological level, it impacts us on a neuropsychological level. Like, it disrupts your whole nervous system. So you think of the way that a healthy person may respond in certain situations. A person who has trauma, they're not going to respond the same way. Oftentimes, it's exaggerated response to perceived threat, right? And trauma keeps you paralyzed at the place that you were when the trauma happened, at the age you were. It's like it keeps you paralyzed and stuck in time. And the thing, when we look at, and I'm going to go ahead and switch gears in a minute and go to unboxing my packages, but it's like when you think of African Americans and, our historical roots, our experience being oppressed, dealing with racism in this country, dealing with slavery, segregation, and the whole black code. It's like, yes, those things happen. And I think that we are at a point in our lives, like in this society, where certain people, you gonna say all, but certain people within white America, and it could be Trump. Like, we don't know what the hell really going on. People, I think, have their own assumptions, but maybe it ain't so bad. And it goes into deep, like it takes deep analysis and critical thought to look at all different perspectives when it comes to critical race theory, and I'm trying to abolish that, right? And when you look at what happened last month, Black History Month, Donald Trump signed the order saying we're getting rid of it, right? I feel like, and I'm a very spiritual person. I am pro-Black, I am Pan-African, and I'm always thinking deeply about things. I'm not reactionary. A lot of people, they just quick to react emotionally, but it's like I weigh different aspects of things, and I feel like everything that happens under this sun, everything happens for a reason. And I feel like nothing happens without the permission of the universe, without the ultimate order of the universe. So while it may seem like, certain people who have power and charge, they may be abusing their power and doing this and doing that, but no. At the end of the day, the universe, and for those who believe in, Jesus or God, they have the final say at the end of the day. And what happens and how it happens, who is going to impact, how it's going to impact. And if for so long we have been living in this paradigm of this race war between Black people and white people, like that has been the narrative for so long. Wouldn't it make sense if we want to abolish racism, it would take for us to remove the symbols, it would take for us to remove the systems. Like, what does it actually look like? We talk about, okay, we shouldn't live in a racist society. White people shouldn't be racist, but what does it actually look like to live in a race-free society? Many people wouldn't even know the answer to that, because we lived within this paradigm for so long. We don't even know what does that really entail. And like I was saying earlier, I feel like Black people, we just have this deep, really unhealthy attachment to these memories, these pain bodies of what happened to our ancestors that has been passed down to us genetically. Yes, it's not to undermine, because people will say, oh, well, these things are still happening to Black people. Black people, like systemic racism still exists within our school system, within the criminal justice system, within our healthcare system. But the question is, how do we step away from that? Or would you prefer to be attached to that identity? That's a question up for deep philosophical thought for those who can handle it. You got some people that say, well, I choose not to identify as Black, because Black is a color. to each his own, right? I feel like there's positive and negative connotations to either side of the coin. But in navigating healing from racial trauma, healing from any type of trauma, even for survivors of domestic abuse, they oftentimes detach themselves from labels that disempower them, such as victim. They say, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. Okay? So I feel like different people have their method and way of empowering themselves and healing through their trauma. But it's something to be said about like that dark aspect, right? The hidden recess of a person's mind, that dark hidden recess of a person's mind that is still there, of a person's psyche, and it oftentimes has more power than their own conscious thinking. It's the subconscious mind that drives much of our behavior. That's the work that I do. Unraveling what is in your subconscious mind. Not being afraid to communicate. Not being afraid. Face those demons head on. I did order some books. Okay, sis. So, it's funny how the universe works. I was introduced to this black psychologist a couple days ago through a mutual colleague, and she has a book purchased. I've been meaning to get this book for the longest, but I finally got it. Lesson Learned. This is by Janae Newell. She is a cult survivor. Definitely looking forward to reading these. Oh, there's more. There's more. The movie, yeah, probably would give the movie 5 out of 5 stars. It deserves it. It's a good movie. For you guys who are wondering, I did order these books before. So today is March 29th. The boycott for Amazon, I believe, begins on March 31st. So these books obviously were ordered before then for the guys who are looking with a critical eye. Pre-colonial Black America. Definitely about to read this. We gotta free our mind, you know. Ask ourselves, what is the benefit to holding on to traumatized identities? You know, for some, they like to be the victim. They benefited from it for so long. It's a crutch, right? They cling to that identity they cling to identity like a little kid, right? Who is afraid to just let go and trust himself, trust his own two legs to be able to walk, holding on very tightly to dear life. So let go. But then who will you become in place of that? Who will you become in place of the descendant of enslaved African? It is not to dismiss that aspect of your identity. It's not to forget and lose memory of your ancestral history. No. But there's something to be said about defining one's identity to your oppressor. Has anyone ever really thought about that? Like no other race is defined, their identity is defined by oppressor. How can we want to define ourselves? Who are you as a Black person? And if your answer is linked to an identity of the oppressor, then what have you? Because some people argue, well, Black, we've been called ourselves Black even before slavery. It was Kemet, the land of the Blacks. The Blacks. You know, I just saw, what's her name? What's this, Jesse Lee Peterson interview with, what's that girl name that was with Kanye West? If you were looking for a good laugh, you need to watch Jesse Lee. That motherfucker funny as shit. He is hilarious. I think it's just the way his accent. He got that country, deep South accent, though. The things that he let come out of his mouth, you tell he don't give a damn. He is hilarious. Definitely recommend this book. Came highly recommended. So, this is actually what I've been waiting for. This is the second time around. The first time I got this package, it wasn't the right one. So let's hope this is actually the right one. Let's see. Real life. I ain't got the patience for bullshit. I don't have the patience for bull. That's class. I'm for class. I need to go live. Get nice, but my ass is so clumsy, y'all. Let's see. I've never been good with knives, ever. good with knives. Oh. I'll be able to cut myself. So how am I not good with knives? Good with a lot of shit, but not with knives. Let's see. Getting somewhere. Making progress. I just hope it's the right one, because I ain't got time to play games with people, man. People like to play games and shit, and I'm not the one, you know? But if I pay you, if I send you somebody and I pay you, just send me what the fuck I ordered. The fuck? Listen, this might be it. You don't say. It's looking like it so far. Can't tell what this is. Some of y'all smart. I don't know if this I hope he didn't just send me some shit. See, the first one he sent me was an American map, right? And I'm like, I ain't ordered this shit, so the one I got was somebody else's. But he just let me keep it. So hopefully they didn't send the shit back, and now he sent it to me. I don't want that. That's what happens when you order motherfucking shit online. I already see something wrong with it. Find out. I think this is let's see. We shall say. I think he did say one of the countries, the other, Madagascar. Yes, this is a wooden map of Africa. Should better be fucking right. I think I'm gonna put it by my chair. Not on this slide, but hold up. Okay, man. Okay. Y'all know why I I got this. I got it so I can learn the African countries. That is very important. Smells fresh. I love it. Okay. Yes. I'm gonna take a picture of it after I hang it up. It's 3D. So the country I'm gonna visit very soon. I can say it's in this region. Somebody said, well, you didn't go to West Africa. I am, but not the first. Won't be the first. Yeah, so I'm excited. Definitely excited. Alright, so let's see. There's another piece here. Oh, look at so simple. Yeah, this is my gas card. And these, I think, are just markers. Yeah. I think, yeah, these are just destination markers to indicate what countries I visited. So I think that's cute. They have stickers on the back. You just pull it. Adhesives, I mean, they have adhesives on the back. You just peel it off. Tag the country as I go and visit. It's gonna be nice. Alright, so I think the reason why I'm not good with knives, I have a heavy hand. I'm trying to be delicate and stuff to not break it. I have a heavy fucking hand. My gas card. What was this? This was, I think this is. Well, I don't think I need this, but. Yeah, I'm so ready to freaking move out. Like, I feel like I've accumulated so many things since I have moved to this place. And I moved here September 1st, I think. September of 2020. So this September will be like. I'm like, he gave me a custom. I didn't pay for custom, but I guess since we screwed up my order. He could have kept that because I'm not a baseball fan, but he gave me that. hate when they do this. Packaging as a whole. This will ship via FedEx. Do they do that? See, look, it broke the seal here. Like, why? Why are these motherfuckers trying to go in my shit? Let's see how I open this shit. Like, do they do that just as part of the inspection? You think I'm trying to ship some? Wait. Okay. Brand new, okay. Brand new. This is for my work here. And I gotta set it up. It's for my work. So I'm switching gears a little bit. As I'm transitioning into private practice, in the interim, I will be working from home. So I'm so excited. I'm excited. I feel like it gives myself like time to just rest. Like I say, Black women, we need to rest because I'm a hard worker. I'm very diligent and serious about my work. I don't play. And so, yeah, I used to get up early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning to make it to work at 8 when I was working in the office, seeing patients and clients face to face. But now, working from home, baby, working from home. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully I get my voice back soon. I feel like it's coming, but slowly. It's coming too slow. Alright, thank you guys for tuning in. Feel free to share in the comment section what you guys think about that movie. Like I said, it's a good movie for self-reflection. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.